Hi there. This is a life lately video that I've been waiting to make for a long time, as there's been a lot of progress, a lot of challenge, a lot of really intense growth edges in my world. I've been really quiet lately online, but really busy behind the scenes as we build out here Reimagine Ranch and Serafina, our new software platform for purpose-driven creators looking to discover their gifts more fully, bring them to the world more effectively, and also find more community that aligns to that purpose, which is truly exciting. I'm thrilled by what's possible now with software and had some great mentors in that. But that's not really the point of this message, despite my excitement. The point of this message is really to speak from a place of deep pain and deep growth and deep truth, not just about me, because I'm not here to trauma dump and I'm not here to make my burdens yours, but I am here to meet in truth, and I am here to share parts of the journey that are hard to share. And in the hope and in the intent of you seeing your growth edges from a more compassionate way, from a more divine perspective way, and from a more accepting way, because whatever we reject and judge in ourselves, we reject and judge in the world, and therefore we end up projecting and condemning other people who are just exhibiting the shadows that we have not been able to accept and love and appreciate. And I'm devoted to having a level of clarity where that's not the case and that's not happening, and that I'm able to see myself and others clearly as amazing God-made particles here in this beautiful and challenging world. And as we ride the waves of life, being able to hold ourselves to a higher standard, fix what can be fixed. And if you know me, you know that I've gone through some wild stuff with some lawsuits and just things I never would have expected, and that I find deeply challenging and confusing, and close to being able to resolve those. God willing, it's just a couple more days and we'll have clarity on the solution here. Been a long and painful and deeply embarrassing, humiliating, humbling process. And as I know what's coming, and as I feel what's coming, as I intend and pray for what's coming, of the impact that I'm here to make, of the impact that Ori is here to make, the positivity, the prosperity, the sense of belongingness that I'm here to echo. I've had to find more of that in myself than I thought I really needed to. And after our last event in Austin, there were a lot of mistakes made, and I was trying to go about things for all the right reasons. And again, I share this with the intent of not my own pain or sadness of it all, but to wake up more courage and compassion in you for your journey. And as I've been held to account for things and have apologized for things and have gone too fast and broken too much, I've also learned the priceless lessons. And there's just no other way. There's just no other way than to get in the mix and be the man in the arena or the woman in the arena, and to go reveal yourself for the world to see. If you do desire prominence and impact, then you're going to go through some really intense initiations and really intense moments in time where you're going to have to confront your shadows. And I had to confront mine. And they showed up in romance, where I entered into relationships that I thought were right, and they were right in their ultimate cosmic divine way of lessons and wisdom and all of that. And I also knew that there was a better way, and that the relationships I got into, as much as I treasure and value and respect the women that I was involved with over a long period of time, there's also been, for the last year or so, a deep knowing that I'm just not meant to be in relationship with anyone right now. And I've committed to a phase of celibacy now, and that feels really good. It's funny, my light dimmed when I said that. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If you saw the change there, that's what happened. Um, and I knew that's what I needed to be in the past because I knew I couldn't give what the women that I had seen really deserved and what they wanted. And there were a lot of damaged parts in me that still sought validation and wellness and vitality from women and from the feminine, which is, one of the beautiful gifts of a relationship is that positive flow of energy and that revitalizing process. And that's very powerful for me. When I've been in committed relationships in the past, I've been very productive. I've been very positive. It's very helpful for me. And I've realized recently that there are, still layers of codependency and also layers of narcissism that have been alive in me. And that's really painful and difficult to admit out loud. And I have worked hard to not judge that about myself because I know what my intentions are. I know how I'm here to serve and help and what I want to do for people. And I also know that in certain ways I just haven't been able to do that to the maximum extent possible. So the last many months of just deep, excruciating inner work and powerful, brutal, soul crushing medicine ceremonies and initiations have been, oh, brutal, my friends. Savagely brutal and savagely beautiful. And I'm grateful to have been pummeled and crushed and polished in the ways that I have. And as much as I'm here to resonate with great abundance and great prosperity, and I know what's coming and I know where I am vibrating and what I'm choosing into, I also, want to be clear that the last year was financially disastrous. And that's part of why some of these messes were so persistent. The world changed a lot between our second event in Miami in the summer of 23 and our last event here in the spring of 25 here in Austin. And we had a $250,000 event in Miami. We had an $87,000 event in Austin. And I'm blessed as an entrepreneur that takes on large risks. But there was no scenario of my planning, no matter how conservative I planned for, that I thought that we'd have, $170,000 less. And so that put me in a really, really challenging financial situation. Because I'd made a lot of bets and made a lot of gambles based upon previous success that I thought were sure. And they just weren't. So it's taken a long time to recover and readjust and replan and recalibrate. And thankfully we're back in a good way, and we're building in a good way, and there's some really great currency flowing through this river of life that is here. And so I'm thrilled by what's next. And there's a calling for anyone listening to this, that if you're going to really live your gifts and you're going to really live your purpose and do your thing in the world, it's a spiritual journey. It's not just a business. It's not just money. It's you trusting you. It's you believing in you. It's you believing in God, Goddess, the divine, whatever insufficient word could describe the ineffably perfect, beautiful force of creation that brought us into this reality. And it's the most powerful growth portal you could ever be a part of, because it's going to test every single thing in your reality. Your relationships, your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, your being, everything in you is going to get tested. Everything in me got tested. And in full transparency, I don't know if this is too vulnerable or honest, or this makes people nervous or uncomfortable about me as a leader or my ability to manifest, money or be a worthy open vessel for divine provision. But there were times, in the last many months and year where I had absolutely nothing. Like I had a jar of peanut butter for dinner, and then I didn't eat for like 4 days. And I called it a water fast. It was because I was absolutely broke. And every credit card maxed out, no money in any account. And damn, that was something. That was really something. And it showed me how much I love this. And I believe that we make these complicated oversoul commitments or life commitments or soul contracts. And, that was mine. And I believe I agreed to go through something incredibly difficult to prove to myself who I really am, and to experience myself in the moments of incredible pressure and pain and difficulty and doubt and shame. God, the shame of it all, the self-loathing and judgment that came up, that I got to clear and purge and change and evolve through. I mean, excruciating. Excruciating. And I share this not out of pity, but out of creating a space for you to feel safe, to feel everything that you're feeling in your journey. Because entrepreneurial mental health challenges are real. There was a man who committed suicide in the Austin area recently as an entrepreneur in a similar community to mine. I've lost one of my best friends on the planet to suicide. And we need to have these conversations around this being okay. Like, we need to make it okay to feel our pain. We need to make it okay to not feel ashamed about feeling shame. We need to make it okay to not be okay in the moment. Because that okayness, that allowing of the feeling to flow is what allows it to move through us. And if we don't allow that to move, and we block and we judge and we tighten and we contract, we don't allow our authentic self to come through. And authentic self-expression is the cure for depression. I don't believe we have depression, and there's a lot of compelling science around the falsity of chemical disorders in psychology. We don't understand the brain. We don't understand consciousness. We don't. But we do understand stories. We do understand meaning. We do understand perspective. We do understand and inner feel the judgments or lack thereof we have on ourselves or others, and the labels we put ourselves under as ADHD or autistic or whatever it is, or depressed or anxious or bipolar. There's a level of toxic, I'm going to be blunt about this, toxic narcissistic patterns and egoic significance justifications and ways of enhancing our connection with self when we put these labels on ourselves. And when we say, oh, I'm bipolar autistic, then it's like, oh, I feel a sense of importance. I feel a sense of, dare I say, grandiosity. Dare I say, and with love and kindness and respect, we have a deeper connection to the drama that we feel, and it justifies our behavior, and it neutralizes the judgment upon ourselves. And again, that's the great poison, is the judgment upon the symptom. And so when we have this shell around ourselves of ADHD, autistic, this, that, starseed, whatever it is, it justifies our behavior. It neutralizes different pains and tensions within ourselves. And that is toxic. That is not good. That is not spirituality. That is excuse making. That is justification. That's not the real spiritual growth of ownership, accountability, humility, stable mind, not boasting up. And the verses of Corinthians, ring true to this day. And lots of the Bible is horrible, and lots of the Bible is amazing. But love is honest, love is kind, love is not boast. I'm forgetting the words this moment, but it's not pompous, right? It doesn't boast. And we are love at our core, and that's what we're meant to be. And we can release the judgments on self and other, then we can really shine. Then we can really be ourselves. And then we can really fulfill the grand commission of bringing heaven to earth and being in a heavenly state and being in an open-hearted state. And that requires a lot of ease. It requires a lot of care. It requires a lot of tension. Resolving of tension and allowing authenticity to be seen and appreciated. And those are all the ways of the Christ. Those are all the ways of the goddess. Those are all the ways, in my limited understanding, of how we return to godhood and goddesshood and really be in our Christed existence. And that's what I believe we're here in this realm to do. And I believe that that's what Yeshua resonated with, was perfect love, perfect courage, and also perfect warrior. Let's not forget what a warrior that man was and what he went through in this life to be crucified and tortured, if all the history is accurate, which it appears to be. That's real spirituality. So here at Reimagine Ranch, we're building out a space where that can be cultivated. And we'll have medicine church and temple and housing and regenerative pioneers and new earth thinkers and visionaries building out a parallel society. And that's the most important thing, is to build the solution to the great dragon of our world, which is the Babylon system of corruption, of control, of extraction, and it's manifesting itself in every way. Technology, media, music, food. We're in an omni war, basically, of corrupt men and women seeking to control us and extract from us. And it's a sad disaster, but it's also a beautiful invitation into perfection, into heroism, into heroinism, into stepping up into who we're meant to be. So there's no victims, there's no villains, there's us being powerful creators, being blessed, divinely, fully tuned in, fully activated, fully aware, fully divinely blessed, fully grateful, fully loving, fully accepting, fully accountable, fully aligned to our truth. And so I've wanted to put this video out there for a long time because I've been hiding in certain ways. I haven't been idle. I've been busy, very busy, working hard. But I've been quiet, and I've been hiding because of shame, of money, and the messes that I've been cleaning up, which have been difficult, very, very difficult. And now we're coming back, baby, and stay tuned, because we're gonna make a beautiful fucking run. We're gonna come back with love guns blazing, baby. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm so excited. And there's such an amazing team, and the deep work on myself of ownership, of really holding my energy, holding my truth and my boundaries better, and my romantic energy better. And you know, there was as you rise into your prominence, the margin for error is going to shrink drastically. And as I've risen into whatever prominence I've attained, the margin for error, oof, man, has it gotten tight. And that's great, because it calls me into a better way of being. And it's really difficult because it makes me vigilant about who I let into my world, and how do I trust myself, and how do I show up in good ways, and really maintain that divine alignment to be on my path, on my plan. And that's my devotion. That's my commitment. So thank you for being here. Excited for more, and we'll see you soon. Yo, man, I was just recording a video. You're okay. I saw you coming, so it worked out okay. Come on in, man.